Hi, my name's Isaac, and this is a just freakishly large 2023 Ram 2500 Bighorn Cummins Turbo Diesel. And today, I'm gonna review it for you guys. Before we begin, I'd like to thank Lancaster Dodge, Ram, and Fiat for allowing me to borrow this vehicle to review. For all your Stellantis needs in the Lancaster, Pennsylvania area, I'll provide a link in the description below. Starting out at the front end of the 2500, personally, I think this truck might be in the running for one of the best looking pickups on the market right now. I think it's about as handsome as a pickup truck could be. I really like these sharp and aggressive lines on it, but I'd love to know what you guys think, so you could leave those comments in the comment section below. Maybe you think this is the ugliest truck on the market, but I especially think this blacked out package really aids in making it look even more aggressive. But as we are here at the front end, you'll have Ram spelled out across the grille. Then a little bit below that, you'll have parking sensors which dot the entire front of the bumper. Then you'll have tow hooks right here and LED headlights with LED daytime running lights and LED fog lights. Moving underneath the hood in the 2500, it's powered by a 6.7 liter inline 6 Cummins turbo diesel, making 370 horsepower and a staggering 850 pound-feet of torque, and that is paired to a 6-speed automatic transmission. Moving to the profile of the 2500, starting up here, you'll have your 2500 heavy-duty badge, then your Cummins turbo diesel badge, Ram down there, and then if we move to the wheels and tires, you'll get 285 60R Firestone Transforce ATs around these 20-inch wheels. This is interesting. I don't normally review vehicles with 8-lug wheels, but here you go on the 2500. That's a unique little thing to point out. And then as we move up here to the mirrors, pretty standard mirrors. You'll have a turn signal indicator right there, blind spot mirror right there. It's more of a towing mirror right there, I should say, and it's heated. And then what's really cool about this is some trucks automate this, but this is manual. If we push up on the mirror right here, it does fold out for towing, so that is really useful. Right there, that's on both sides. Obviously, it would be weird if only one side folded. So, putting it down here, this is a little hard to do with one hand. There we go, as I hold the camera. There's that. Now, this particular truck could really use some running boards, because we'll step into the interior in a minute. Being 5'9.5" or so, it's definitely a jump to get up here, and you really need those grab handles on the driver and passenger side. So it would be nice to see running boards on this one, though the Bighorn particularly here does not have that. I'm sure you could option it very easily. Then back here you'll have your taillight. This is blind spot monitoring incorporated into the taillight there. And then parking sensors abound on the rear bumper. Then you'll have your tow hitch right here. And then if we move up here, you will have your Ram logo, your backup camera, and then the button to open the tailgate's nice. It has little LED lights here. I guess in case you forget where the button is to open the tailgate, but you tap that, it is a soft drop, which is really nice. And then you'll have a spray and bed liner on here, and you will have LED bed lights, tie downs, and a 400 watt cargo outlet back here. That's really useful. Definitely could get a lot of work done with this truck, as to be expected. And the tailgate is so light that I can take my pinky and I can pop it up like that. So let's take a quick look at the interior. Before we fully step into the interior, I wanted to highlight the key quickly. You'll have lock, unlock, remote start, your panic button, and then it does say Ram down here, but this is a dummy button. And then on the back, it also says Ram. Pretty heavy key. I like how that feels. Feels very premium. And then opening the door here, as I mentioned before, it is gigantic. I am standing as tall as I can stand. I'm about 5'9.5", maybe 5'10" in these shoes, and I measured and I come up to about there on this truck. So it is humongous. Definitely dwarfs me, but while I'm out here, I figure I might as well talk about some of the features because I can crouch down easier to get to them. They're closer to my eye level. So down here, you'll have your power seats, lumbar support, and then you'll have your parking brake right here, the button for your cargo outlet. Then you'll have the hood popper right there. And if we move up to the steering wheel, you will have manual tilting and telescoping. And then this is the button for the power pedals, which is interesting that they put the button here on the 2500s. My guess is this was here on the previous generation of the truck because the newer 1500s put it elsewhere. This is kind of a parts bin truck. I've noticed that as I was in here. I've reviewed a lot of pickup trucks over the years, and the 2500s, while having a lot of new elements, really carry over a lot of the previous elements of the 2500, probably because they don't sell as well, and so they're repurposing whatever they can. On that note, I just want to talk about this. I've never talked about this in a video before. I am nearly positive the cab, so like this section of the cab, is from the outgoing model. I don't think that's changed. If it has changed, very, very minimally. I'm gonna guess body structure wise, that's the same. The bed I believe is new and the front I believe is new, but I believe this cab section is the same. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments section, but I think that's a carryover. And if it isn't, it's at least so incredibly similar you could barely tell. But few carryover items from the previous generation is my point. You'll have your lights right here and the brightness for the center gauge cluster screen. And then over at the door here, you'll have power one-touch down front windows, and you'll have to hold for the rears, lock and unlock, and then your mirror controls. As I mentioned, this isn't a power folding mirror, but it does have the ability to obviously power move. And then, all right, guess it's time to get in. So we're gonna jump up in here into the interior of the 2500 here. Turn it on. Ooh, that sounds really nice. And then here we go, adjusting the steering wheel a little bit. There's a lot to like in here. Oh, hold on, gotta turn the fans down. Let's turn the climate off. There we go. As I said, a lot to like in here. So for starters, you'll have a very comfortable steering wheel right here. And you do have a column shifter, which is really nice. You don't have the dial shifter that the 1500s do have. Let me move this steer. Oh, this is hard to do with one hand. Let's try to do it with my elbow. There we go. Moving the steering wheel down here so you can see into the gauge cluster screen a little bit more. This is controlled with the steering wheel, so you have a lot of different configurable things through here. Your trailer towing, your trip, of course, average fuel economy. Guess what? It's not very good. And so, speaking of carryovers, as I previously mentioned, these buttons are carryovers from the previous generation of the 25 and 3500 trucks as well. I can definitely tell those are from the outgoing one. And then you have your gear limiter. That's all new. And then this dial for your windshield wipers, that definitely looks like it's old too. I'm not going to try to debunk everything that's old in this. Obviously, if it isn't broken, don't fix it. But it's just interesting to see what they've brought over. And so down here, you'll have your heavy duty button, your four-wheel drive selector, and then your engine start stop. You'll also have your gigantic infotainment system screen here, the 12-inch RAM screen, very famous. Not a huge fan of keeping the heated seats on the screen. I would have preferred physical buttons for those. Unfortunately, those are not there. And even just like a physical button on the steering wheel, I guess you could have put it up here or something like that, but they do not have that on any of these newer Ram trucks. I'm not a huge fan of that. I wish there would be some sort of tangible thing for me to press. Though this is a spiffier and quicker screen than when it was initially launched in 2019. There's a little bit faster UI here, and it also has Amazon built in, so if you have an internet connection you can go through that. So that's really nice. You also get navigation right here, which is really useful. Always cool to see the navigation, and I mean, it's so gigantic on this screen. I really like what they've done with this truck. You'll have some controls down here, and then you'll also have your hazards up here with your traction control off, and then you'll have a 12-volt outlet with some storage right there, and your center Alpine speaker for the Alpine audio system that this includes. Now, this particular truck does not have a sunroof, but it does have a power sliding rear window. As I said in my recent Rebel review, I will always take a power sliding rear window. Never will say no to that. You get cloth seats here. They're very comfortable, very bolstered. I like that. You sink right into them. So, you know, I think on a 2500, you're getting a work truck. Obviously, this is a little bit more than a work truck. It has a lot of different luxury features in here, but you don't really need the leather seats. I think this is just comfortable, especially if you're going on long road trips. This truck sits very, very nicely. And then down here, you'll have USB, USB-Cs, and an auxiliary, which is crazy. You don't see many auxiliaries. You have a spot to put your phone right here, a household outlet in here, and then a nice little cubby storage thing you can put your entire hand into if you wanted. As I said, again, in my Ram Rebel review that I did recently, I just feel like you'd lose stuff in there. Like, stuff would roll in there, and you'd be like, oh no, my chapstick, I've lost it. And then it was just in there the whole time. Right here, you can slide this up to have access to your coin holder and 2 cup holders. And then you can open this up for further storage. And what's cool is you have kind of the generations of the Ram trucks printed on this little divider right here. It's kind of hard to see, but that's a neat little detail. And then if we open up the center of this, you can see there is some additional storage and a USB in here. And then over on the dashboard, you'll have a lower glove box and this upper one right here that opens up. So that's pretty neat. I really like the functionality there, and it's definitely very useful. So overall, pretty nice front to this interior. Let's take a quick look at the back. Moving to the rear, again, before I fully step in, some things here are closer to eye level, so I'd prefer to do it over here. One of those things is that you can fold up the seats, and on the 1500 Rams, you'll get a completely flush load floor here. But because of some stuff located down here, that's not possible on the 2500s. But Ram has come up with a clever workaround for that. What you can actually do is you can fold this over on both sides to then give yourself a flush load floor. I think it's such a neat detail, very cool, and that basically gives you the workaround for that. And very simple, very easy to fold back up. And you can also just pull these seats back down very easily. You can do it with one hand, it's no problem. So that's incredibly useful. And then here you have a little hidden Ram box storage cubby. So you can open that up, and then you can actually take this out if you wanted to put ice in it. Maybe you could put drinks and clean it out if you'd like. So a little bit of functionality there. And then stepping up inside, you'll have USBs, USB-Cs, another household outlet back here, climate vents, cup holders. Closing the door here, you'll also have 2 more cup holders and a center armrest, and then a good deal of legroom back here. I probably have 3 or 4 inches from where I'm at. This seat's probably back a little bit further than I would normally sit, but I also have probably 5 inches of headroom, so a lot of clearance back here, which is nice. And then you have your power sliding window back here. Give yourself a little bit more air if you'd like. Overall, very spacious back here, very comfortable on this interior. All right, driving the Ram 2500 Bighorn. You know, frankly, I think this is the most bang for your buck truck you can get from Ram if you're looking to actually tow and like really use it for its purposes. I was just talking to Nick, one of the salesmen. I'll leave his information in the description box below, but I was telling him, you know, they had some Laramies that they had ordered, and I've seen this a lot with the Laramie trims, is sometimes, you know, they'll get leather heated seats or maybe a sunroof, but the Bighorn here actually has a bigger screen. The Laramies they have on the lot actually have the smaller infotainment screens, so you can't always go by trim when it comes to pickup trucks. Just because this is a Bighorn and that's technically the next step up Laramie, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's gonna have way more bells and whistles. In this case, I actually would argue, I think this Bighorn has more bells and whistles, and it's got the night edition package, so it looks cooler. So I honestly would go with this truck, probably over a Laramie 2500. That's just me personally, but I don't know if I would necessarily need the sunroof or anything like that. And then let's open it up here. We're gonna pedal to the metal, as it were. It's a diesel truck. It's a Cummins. It sounds like a Cummins, feels like a Cummins in handling. It's not the fastest truck, not getting up to speed. but it definitely feels like it commands the road well, and visibility is surprisingly good out of this truck. So is braking. I'm noticing as I'm doing this turn here, very responsive on the braking. Steering control feels good. Doesn't feel as boaty as you'd think it does. Feels a little bit boaty, but not super boaty. The interior on this, as I mentioned, has a lot of carryover parts, and this feels a little bit cheaper, a little bit less put together than the 1500s. Now that makes sense to me because the 1500s sell more, higher volume vehicle, you want to have the better build quality. Though clearly Dodge, Ram, whoever, Stellantis can do that because the 1500s are built very well. But this has some plastic pieces and some trim pieces around here towards the driver's side that just feel a little tackier and are a little flimsy. Like you can even feel just hitting the buttons. It's a brand new truck. It shakes a little bit. And so that's a little disappointing for the price range, which is my second complaint on this. Now, obviously, trucks have gotten more and more expensive. We're in a very weird spot right now in the industry, but very expensive. $80,000 for a Bighorn. Now, granted, you get the large screen, heated seats, heated steering wheel. The Cummins, that adds like, what, $12,000 to any 2500 heavy-duty truck. But pretty expensive for a Bighorn and having some flimsy parts in there. Other than that, though, I mean, really reliable truck. These are notoriously reliable engines. I would say definitely a good deal if you're looking for a heavy-duty truck. This is definitely a consideration. And personally, I really mean this. I think it's probably one of the best looking trucks that they make right now. Well, that is just about going to wrap up my review of this 2500 Bighorn. I really hope you guys enjoyed. But before I go, I'd like to mention that I am a Christian, and if you have any prayer requests, I would love to be able to pray for you. You can leave those in the comment section below. And lastly, I like to read a weekly scriptural verse. This week's is Proverbs 14:5. A faithful witness will not lie, but a false witness will utter lies. All right, guys, I'll see you next time. Take care.